حضورنا الكريم، نرجو منكم أخذ مقاعدكم. البرنامج سيبدأ بعد قليل. Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The program is about to start.
connect, attract, achieve,
Imagine a country on the cusp of a revolutionary transformation, where the future isn't just dreamed of, it's actively being built. A nation on the threshold of becoming a global leader in innovation, technology, and business, with a vision that has the young generation at the heart of its progress. The private sector thrives, and the world turns its eyes to a nation poised to lead. So hello, bonjour, guten Abend, salamat datang, hola, ahlan wa sahlan, and welcome to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Your Highnesses, Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm Fatma Fahad, and it is my pleasure to welcome you all to Biban24 in its 10th edition, where we open doors to a global destination of opportunities for dreamers, leaders, and change makers alike. So it is a dynamic roadmap to unlock a country's and a nation's full potential, isn't it? With resources, ambition, and an unwavering energy to succeed. Saudi Arabia isn't just adapting to the future, it's creating it with open doors. So ladies and gentlemen, let it be well noted, the journey has just begun, and the world will be watching as it unfolds.
أهم ميزة لدى السعودية هي الطاقة الشبابية اللي فيها، شباب واعي قوي لديه طموح رائع مثقف متعلم بشكل جيد مبدع لديه قيم عالية. الشباب بلا شك هم أهم روافد هذه الرؤية وتحقيقها.
Every great journey begins with a single idea, a spark that ignites a path to greatness. It inspires transformation, turning ideas into reality. Biban has paved the way for new possibilities, bringing together dreamers from the kingdom and beyond. Since 2017, traveling through 9 editions, it has turned ambitions into achievements, driving progress forward. Today, we honor that journey. Knowledge is the foundation of progress. Through these voices, we shape the landscape of tomorrow. Voices have power. Each insight drives change and innovation. One of shared purpose, filled with meaning and accomplishment. Every partnership is a step toward boundless potential. Progress thrives on collaboration. Together, we've empowered innovation. The future is limitless. And with our partners by our side, we continue to rise. Each idea unlocks a new horizon. This is just the beginning. This journey proves the sky's the limit, and you're never too young to dream big and reach for those stars. Meet Ratil El Shahri, a young visionary, showing us it's never too early to invest in yourself.
still young to share your dreams. You're still young to share your vision. You're still young to make a difference. How many times have we heard these words every time we think big or share a daring idea? Personally, I've heard them more times than I can count. And trust me, I'm not a big fan of numbers to begin with. But why do we let age define our ambitions? Is there a specific age to start a business? What does age really mean in the world of entrepreneurship? Is it a milestone, a barrier, or just a number? Many people believe that success comes with only age and experience. But I am here to challenge that belief, and that age is just a number. Let me take you on my little journey. I started my podcast, Retail Alpha Talk, when I was just 12 years old. I had countless questions buzzing around in my head, questions that still kept me up at night. Despite people telling me, "You're still a kid, go play with your toys," I refused to let those words hold me back because I knew my voice mattered. So I decided to create a platform where my generation's questions can finally be heard and answered. No more mind your business. And by the way, I'm not earning money from it yet. Let's be honest, we all love money, right? But it's not the point. The point is about building yourself, sharpening your skills, and having the courage to pursue your dreams. Sorry. Anyone can be an entrepreneur, whether you're 12 or 70. The opportunities are endless, and the world of entrepreneurship is wide open to explore and be creative, regardless of age. Because remember, age is just a number. Okay, have you ever wondered why the most successful entrepreneurs always have the best ideas and a lot of money? I'm joking, but it's because they never stop asking questions. While some follow the crowd, the true innovator craves their own path. A real entrepreneur, young or old, is driven by relentless curiosity and a willingness to turn ideas into action. So the next time a crazy idea pops into your head, ask yourself, why not me? Why not now? I encourage you all to unleash your curiosity, invest in your dreams, discover your inner entrepreneur, and watch the world open up before you do. Entrepreneurship doesn't wait for the perfect moment. It starts the moment you ask, what's possible? So, don't let age hold you back, whether you're 12 or 70. If not now, when? Many people say, live today the way you want to be remembered tomorrow. So, what do you want to be remembered for? Thank you.
Ratil's journey proves that ambition has no age, and opportunity is limitless for those who dare to start. From these first steps, we turn to a vision that lies at the heart of our nation's future. A new horizon is taking shape. Futuristic cities rise from the sands, cultural legacies are reborn, and untapped landscapes offer endless potential. These projects embody our commitment to a better future, where living standards rise, opportunities are abundant, and sustainability shapes every step forward. Here, collaboration thrives. The big supports the small, and visionaries lead dreamers. We now turn to Lou Cooper House, reflecting how these mega projects go beyond infrastructure, nurturing entrepreneurship, and shaping a sustainable future for all. Lou Cooper House has shown how grand visions and mega projects nurture even the smallest ambitions, creating opportunities where entrepreneurship can thrive.
Good evening. My name is Lou Cooper House, and I spent my entire 40-year career in the food industry with continuous entrepreneurial roles in both the private and public sectors. My message to you today is that entrepreneurship comes in many forms, but a key to success is having an entrepreneurial mindset. Let me explain. Like Ratil, who is amazing, I started very young. When I was just 13, my parents managed 2 small retail stores, and I learned and applied every aspect of these businesses: customer service, inventory, accounting, you name it. This early experience shaped my understanding of business and gave me the confidence to innovate later in life. After college, I was ready to be an innovator and an entrepreneur, and I worked at Campbell Soup, Conagra, and Nestle. Within these huge organizations, I launched new businesses, was able to act as an internal disruptor, an innovator, something that we called intrapreneurship. In the 1990s, I first became a startup entrepreneur and co-founded and served as CEO of a company that pioneered nutritious meals for special diets, products never before developed or commercialized. And later, as president and COO of a fresh-cut produce company, I led the transformation of the entire business, driving it to market dominance through innovative new products, collaborations, and entrepreneurial practices. I've also been an entrepreneur supporting other entrepreneurs as founder and executive director of the Rutgers University Food Innovation Center, an award-winning program that is America's premier food incubator. But in 2018, I became an entrepreneur once again. I founded Blue Nalu, where we are creating real seafood directly from the cells of fish. We are based in San Diego, California, and we become the global leader in this space, and we're partnering with major food companies worldwide. But looking back on my career, I'd like to share with you today some of the best practices that I've learned from all of these very diverse experiences. First, as an entrepreneur, you must start with a unique selling proposition, what we call a USP, one that meets a consumer need. At Blue Nalu, our USP is cell-cultured seafood that is superior to its conventional counterpart. It's sustainable, it's free from mercury, microplastics, toxins, and environmental pollutants. It offers consistency and year-round access. Secondly, success is not about you. As an entrepreneur, you must build a diverse, cross-functional team that complements your skills and where everyone benefits from success. Third, you must embrace external collaborations. Don't try to do this all by yourself. This philosophy is called open innovation, where you partner with external organizations to fill gaps in a mutually beneficial way. And fourth, ideally you need to attract mission-aligned, strategic investors who share your vision, but they also add value that is beyond capital. At Blue Nalu, we're very fortunate as our investors and advisors include His Royal Highness Prince Khaled of KBW Ventures, who has been instrumental in our success. And just last year, I stood here in Riyadh to announce a partnership with NEOM, which led our Series B financing. Our shared focus on sustainable food production, environmental conservation, and human health align perfectly with Saudi Vision 2030. But there's still more to success than these elements that I've shared thus far. As an entrepreneur, you must embody qualities like passion, persistence, courage, resilience, and adaptability. You must be focused on the future, and also what needs to get done today and tomorrow, while being organized, efficient, and accountable. Strong relationships and collaboration are also keys to success. And lastly, you must always be a great listener, a listener to your customers, to your consumers, and to the greater public. A listener also to your board, your investors, your partners, your team, and of course, your family. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm just thrilled to be part of Saudi Arabia's entrepreneurial ecosystem, as it truly is the global destination for entrepreneurs. Thank you.
Lou Cooper House has shown how grand visions and mega projects nurture even the smallest ambitions, creating opportunities where entrepreneurship can thrive. This spirit of growth extends beyond projects. Our rich natural resources tell a story of abundance and promise. Beyond agriculture, our land holds valuable resources among others. Today, we stand proudly in the forefront of global rankings, excelling in diverse fields. Culture celebrates our heritage. Agriculture nurtures the land. Education shapes bright minds. Healthcare strengthens our communities. Energy, industry, and environmental stewardship power our progress. And tourism opens the world to our story, connecting with each other and driving ourselves forward. We turn to Dr. Haneen Al-Sabeh, a leader in the tourism sector, who will highlight the inspiring contributions of women entrepreneurs, showing how women are driving progress and shaping the kingdom's future.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Dr. Haneen Al-Sabeh. I'm the founder and CEO of Darrent. It's a privilege to stand before you today to share the story of Darrent, a journey that began in 2021, inspired by 2030 vision for Saudi Arabia tourism sector. In those early days, we saw immense potential in the tourism market, an opportunity that was clear to us even if others couldn't see it. Great transformations begin with those who see opportunities in the unseen. And in Darrent, we didn't see tourism as just an opportunity, but as a transformative movement for our country. Our ambition to be leading hospitality innovation was not without challenges. Our progress in Darrent has attracted global attention, including Morgan Stanley as one of our first investment in the region, a significant vote for confidence in both Darrent and Saudi. This partnership is more than a financial, it's a sign that the world is ready to invest in our nation, visions, and future. Together, we worked to make the impossible possible. And I am proud to announce that Saudi Arabia has surpassed its initial goal by reaching 100 million annual visitors this year, before 2030. This success has gave us the momentum to aim even higher, and we raised our target to achieve 150 million visitors yearly. The best investments you can make is in yourself. Saudi Arabia is doing just that, investing in the future, redefining the regions. By looking ahead, we are preparing for Riyadh also Expo in 2030, the World Cup, FIFA is coming, that will elevate Saudi as one of the world in the world stage. These aren't just any events, they are steps that will create jobs, attract foreign investments, and place Saudi as a leader in the tourism, innovation, and economy. At Darrent, our success comes down to a simple but powerful formula. Find a meaningful challenge, then build a strong team, find a great, attractive, big market, and then provide a high quality product. It's that simple. I thank you all for your time, and I invite you to all to be part of the transformative journey. Join us as Saudi Arabia steps into its role as a global leader. Thank you so much.
Dr. Haneen Asabeh has shown the courage of women entrepreneurs, reminding us that with ambition and opportunity, there are no limits. Saudi Arabia is more than a land of opportunity. It is a gateway to the world. Our kingdom is empowering entrepreneurs to transform local ideas into global successes. With every step, we bridge the gap between local dreams and global aspirations. As we journey toward global expansion and our position as a global business hub solidifies, we're joined by Ahmed Al-Zaini, an entrepreneur who has transcended borders to share his inspiring success story in international growth.
Thank you. Your Royal Highness, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I came here today with a prepared speech, but standing here, wow, I'm honestly speechless. I came to talk about Biban, this remarkable platform where I am privileged to speak. I'm grateful to the dedication of the leaders of this great nation present right here in this room and extending beyond, who work day and night to empower people like me. I'm grateful to every Saudi, each one inspiring the other. The gathering is a celebration of our collective dreams, efforts, and progress. Imagine walking in a room where everyone believes they are about to change the world. That was Silicon Valley 10 years ago. But in that credible landscape, one thought became very clear. Our vision here in Saudi Arabia is even more profound. It brought me home with the mission. This insight did not just bring me home with a goal, it brought me back with a mission to build something exceptional, rooted here yet boundless. From that mission, Foodex was born 10 years ago. Not only to compete on the global stage, but to lead empowered by resilience, determination, and innovation. This journey began with two dreamers, my dear friend Mus'ab and myself. Starting from a small place in Khubar, our vision for Foodex has grown exponentially. Today, we are proud to say that Foodex is home to over 650 talented people, creating a thriving community across the MENA region and beyond. Through our effort, thank you. Through our effort, Foodex has generated hundreds of white-collar jobs for Saudi nationals and acquired a global talent across world-class caliber from east to west and everywhere in between, contributing to the local and global economy. I still remember when I met Ray Dalio 3 years ago at the pre-FII event in Riyadh. What he told me really made me realize something so powerful. You all should be proud of what you guys have built, because Foodex and its alike has put Saudi on the map and paved the path for other technology companies. Thank you. Then I met him last week, and he is impressed with what Saudi founders in the ecosystem have been doing. At Foodix, we embody the multiplier effect. Our success is not just about growth and profit. It's about our commitment to mentor and invest in the next generation of entrepreneurs. It's amazing to see that many of former employees are now founders and leaders of successful companies. I'm proud that Foodix is the first Saudi company in the SaaS business to attract international investments, bringing in significant funding from top-tier investors like Process and Sequoia and the PIF through its subsidiary Sanabel Investment. These partnerships really highlight the high potential of Saudi entrepreneurs to lead on the global stage. But let's not stop here. These achievements are just part of much bigger vision. At the heart of this journey is the Vision 2030, transformed our landscape into a place where entrepreneurs dream without limits. Our ambition is not just to participate, it's to lead on the global stage, redefining what it means to compete and innovate. And events like Biban, they are crucial in amplifying our effort. Biban has become a great part of this narrative, creating a world of opportunities for every dreamer. Can you feel the momentum this platform has created? There is no excuse for anyone not to succeed, given all of this support and system and platforms for opportunity. Our journey does not just end today. It's about crafting a lasting legacy. Our story is woven by the entrepreneurs, the dreamers of our nation, crafting the legacy of resilience that will inspire future generations. In the word of His Royal Highness, Samu Sayyid Al-Amir Mohammed bin Salman, there are no barriers for our ambitions. As Saudi entrepreneurs, we all live this vision every day, pushing boundaries to set new standards on the global stage. As I leave you, think about this. Today, we are putting the foundation for a future where ambition has no limits, where each boundaries inspire us and our vision drives us forward. Today, let's create a legacy that reached far beyond us. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Ahmed Ozaimi embodies transformation, showing us with the Kingdom's support how to turn local visions into global legacies. We recognize that our remarkable achievements are rooted in the unwavering support and visionary guidance of our esteemed leadership. We express our heartfelt gratitude for their commitment to paving a path to change, empowering us to reach significant milestones that drive our collective success. Here at Biban24, the global destination for opportunities, we announce remarkable initiatives that will shape the future. Today, we celebrate 70 local and international agreements in both the private and public sectors. 8 local governmental entities have accelerated local growth through the establishment of incubators and accelerators, cultivating a thriving culture of innovation. 14 local companies are launching investment opportunities within the private sector, including new growth avenues in e-commerce. 8 international governmental entities are collaborating to foster connections and inspire global partnerships, sharing knowledge and championing creative thinking. 7 global corporations are partnering with us to transcend boundaries through digital growth and cloud solutions. 4 esteemed international institutions are collaborating with us to advance knowledge and celebrate Saudi achievements through impactful research. We celebrate a monumental leap in support for our young visionaries. With over 30 billion Saudi riyals in financial support provided, key entities are opening new horizons with bold funding visions. We are also thrilled to unveil over 10,000 investment opportunities. We foster pathways that inspire visionaries, creating a vibrant ecosystem for transformative growth. It is with great excitement that we announce an award of $1 million in the Entrepreneurship World Cup, where we empower 100 creatives and pioneers from 52 countries. These milestones mark the beginning of a greater journey. Together, we will continue breaking barriers and achieving even more. This is not the end.
This is not the end. The journey is just beginning. Ladies and gentlemen, Saudi Arabia doesn't just recognize talent from within the kingdom, but from around the globe. And we're about to do just that. Recognize and celebrate talented people and celebrate their contributions of visionaries who drive innovation and growth. And to mark this very special occasion, I would like to call on stage the Saudi Minister of Commerce, His Excellency Majid Al-Qasabi, and joining him, the Saudi Minister of Investment, His Excellency Khalid Al-Faleh. Joining them, the Governor of Small and Medium Enterprise General Authority, Ustad Sami Al-Husseini, and Chief Executive Officer of Premium Residency Center, Ustad Muhammad Al-Sultan. Please join their excellencies. Welcome on stage. Thank you for joining us. Thank you. So as we are celebrating those moments, I would like to also call all 38 individuals, talented, distinguished individuals who contributed with their innovations, with their ideas, with their contributions. Welcome and congratulations for having this premium residency in recognition of their commitment to progress and excellence. 38 distinguished individuals earned the premium residency in recognition of their commitment to progress and excellence. Congratulations to all talents with us here tonight in celebration and recognition to their contributions. A group of visionaries, ladies and gentlemen, earned the premium residency in Saudi Arabia. Congratulations, and thank you for being with us here tonight. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Thank you. Thank you, Your Excellency Khalid Al-Faleh, for being with us. Your Excellency Majid Al-Qasabi, and Your Excellency the Governor, and Mr. Muhammad Al-Sultan, please remain on stage to recognize our sponsors for tonight. Thank you very much. And now, of course, we shall not proceed without thanking our partners here today. Let us recognize them and appreciate their contributions. So starting with our strategic sponsor, Aramco. Please join us on stage. A strategic sponsor at Biban24, Aramco, ladies and gentlemen. We thank you for your support and contributions. Our next sponsor is our enabling sponsor, Tourism Development Fund. Please join us on stage. Yes, a round of applause, please. They well deserve it. Thank you to the Tourism Development Fund for being an enabling sponsor at Biban24. Our next sponsor is the funding sponsor, the Small and Medium Enterprises Bank. Please join us on stage. A round of applause for our funding sponsor, the Small and Medium Enterprises Bank. Now, one of our main sponsors for tonight at Biban24 is the one and the only Saudi National Bank. Please join us on stage. The Saudi National Bank as our main sponsor. Another main sponsor with us tonight is Riyadh Bank. Please join us on stage. We thank you very much. Thank you to Saudi National Bank for being a main sponsor with us tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, Riyadh Bank, a round of applause for them. Our next sponsor is the culture destination sponsor, Royal Commission for Al-Ula. Please join us. Royal Commission for Al-Ula is a culture destination sponsor with us tonight at Biban24. We thank them very much. Our next sponsor is a supporting sponsor, Premium Residency. Please join us on stage. Thank you. Al-Ula, thank you so much for being with us tonight. Premium Residency, our supporting sponsor, please join us on stage. Without our dear sponsors tonight, this wouldn't have been possible, so we sincerely thank them. Our next sponsor is another supporting sponsor. It is the Saudi Water Authority. Please make your way to the stage. The Saudi Water Authority is a supporting sponsor with us tonight at Biban24. Our official sponsor for tonight is Riyadh Region Municipality. So please make your way to the stage. Our lovely official sponsor for tonight. We thank our official sponsor for being with us tonight and supporting Biban24. Our following sponsor is an insurance protection sponsor, the one and only Goosey. Please make your way to the stage. Thank you to our official sponsor. We welcome on stage our insurance protection sponsor, Goosey. Our next sponsor is a cultural sponsor, and that would be the Ministry of Culture. Please make your way to the stage. Our cultural sponsor, Ministry of Culture. Our digital entrepreneurship sponsor for tonight here at Biban24 is the Ministry of Communication and Information Technology. Please make your way to the stage. We thank you very much for being our digital entrepreneur sponsor for tonight. Our next sponsor is hospitality sponsor. التنفيذي, please make your way to the stage. Our hospitality sponsor, التنفيذي, make your way to the stage, please. Thank you very much. Our next sponsor, after our kind hospitality sponsor, our contributing sponsors, Asir Development Authority, please make your way to the stage. التنفيذي, ladies and gentlemen, is one of our hospitality sponsors tonight. We thank them very much for being here. And our next sponsor is Asir Development Authority, contributing sponsor with us tonight. Our next sponsor, another contributing sponsor, is Bank Saudi Fransi. Please make your way to the stage. A third contributing sponsor tonight. How lucky are we to have three contributing sponsors? Saudi Awal Bank, please make your way to the stage. A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. They well deserve it. We thank them sincerely and dearly for being with us, supporting and sponsoring Biban24 in its 10th edition. Asir Development Authority, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for being with us. Bank Saudi Fransi on stage with us, we thank you very much. Saudi Al Awal Bank is a contributing sponsor as well. Our next contributing sponsor is the Saudi Investment Bank. Please make your way to the stage. And another contributing sponsor is Haraj. Please make your way to the stage. Our e-commerce sponsor for tonight is Trendoil. Please make your way to the stage. And our development sponsor is Social Development Bank. Kindly make your way to the stage. Our legacy sponsor is the Diriyah Gate Development Authority. We thank you very much. Please make your way to the stage. Trendiol, ladies and gentlemen. Next, we have Social Development Bank as our development sponsor. And as a legacy sponsor, we have the Diriyah Gate Development Authority. Our technical sponsor for tonight is Mobily. Please make your way to the stage. The Diriyah Gate Development Authority is our legacy sponsor for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We thank them very much for being with us tonight. The Diriyah always number one. Next is our technical sponsor, Mobily. Please make your way on stage. We thank you very much, Mobily. And our media sponsor is Al Arabiya. Please make your way to the stage. Al Arabiya as a media sponsor for Biban24 in its 10th edition. Thank you, Mobily. Al Arabiya, please make your way to the stage. Our transportation sponsor for tonight is Mohammed Yusuf Naghi Motors. Please also make your way to the stage. All right, next we have Mohammed Yusuf Naghi Motors. please make your way to the stage. And our medical sponsor for tonight is Al Hamadi Hospital Group. Please, representative of the hospital, make your way to the stage. And last but not least, our expansion sponsor is Astro Labs. Astro Labs is our expansion sponsor for tonight. Please make your way to the stage. We thank all and every and each one of our sponsors here tonight, ladies and gentlemen, for their continuous support and contributions to the success of Biban24 in its 10th edition. Please, a very warm welcome to our sponsors tonight. Thank you very, very much for being with us. Your Excellencies, we thank you for being on stage with us. This will be the end of the thankful moments to our sponsors. The Kingdom commitment to change is set to position it as a global hub for business innovation and opportunity with open doors, as we have mentioned earlier. Entrepreneurs, investors, global companies, the future is bright for you in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia as it stands ready to lead the way. Thank you to you, Your Highnesses, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, for being with us here tonight, for your time, and we look forward to more progress in our future together. We have created an unforgettable evening. We look forward to witnessing the great heights you will reach. Thank you, and have a very lovely and wonderful evening. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce the Minister of SMEs and Startups in South Korea, Her Excellency Oh Young-ju, for her keynote speech. So please welcome her on stage.
Assalamu alaikum. Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. I am Young-ju Oh, the Minister of SMEs and Startups of the Republic of Korea. Your Excellency Majid bin Abdullah Al-Kasabi, Minister of Commerce, and Your Excellency Sami Al-Husseini, Governor of Monshat. I would first like to express my heartfelt congratulations on the successful opening of the Biban24. It is a tremendous honor to be invited to this remarkable gathering, and I am grateful for this opportunity to deliver a keynote address. Distinguished guests, imagine a world where innovation knows no borders, thriving not only in Silicon Valley, but in every corner of the globe, from Seoul to Riyadh. This is the vision we are building together here today, fueled by two powerful forces reshaping the global startup landscape. The first of these is the rapid expansion of the deep tech, driven by the groundbreaking advancement in artificial intelligence. Despite the challenging tech winter and the ongoing global economy uncertainties, deep tech startups, particularly those in AI, are thriving. Just last year, over half of the world's new unicorn companies were in deep tech, many specializing in generative AI. Approximately 18% of the global venture investment in 2023 went into this sector alone. Beyond AI, sectors such as biotech and aerospace are also attracting substantial investments, signifying the power and the reach of the deep tech in shaping the future. To bring this into perspective, some Korean startups, AI-driven biotech fields, recently achieved remarkable results in diagnosing real disease through AI genetic testing. This is just one example of how deep tech innovation is addressing some of the world's most pressing challenges. The second trend we are witnessing is decentralization. While the startup ecosystem in the United States, exemplified by the Silicon Valley, remains strong, we are now seeing vibrant new startup hubs emerging across Asia, Middle East, and beyond. As a reflection of this shift, the share of Series A funding directed to top 40 ecosystem globally dropped from 79% in 2019 to 65% in 2023, while the share for the top 100 emerging ecosystems rose from 13% to 19%. This progress has been made possible by the unwavering commitments of the governments and the innovators worldwide. Regions such as Spain, Italy, Singapore, Saudi Arabia, and Korea are stepping forward as significant players on the global startup stage. Ladies and gentlemen, Biban has been instrumental in establishing Saudi Arabia as key startup hub in the Middle East. Since Saudi Vision 2030 was introduced, Saudi Arabia has prioritized a technology and the innovation-driven economy. Moonshot has been hosting Biban since 2017, providing a crucial platform for local startups to connect with experts and investors worldwide. Last year, Biban welcomed approximately 145,000 attendees from around the world, raising the profile of Saudi startups on the global stage. Korean startups, in particular, have actively participated, contributing to the internationalization of the Saudi Arabia startup ecosystem and achieving impressive results. For example, Angel Swing, a drone-based construction management startup, Korean startup, won first place in the last year's Biban pitch competition and has since been involved in major projects like Delia Gate, the Red Sea project, and the NEOM. H2O Hospitality, a digital hotel platform startup, established a local office here and is participating in Red Sea project. While AI semiconductor startup Rebellions secured $50 million investment from Saudi Aramco CVC for the collaboration on a data center project. I understand that Biban24 is expected to welcome even more, around 160,000 visitors and over 1,350 companies. This year, Korea has arrived with a strong delegation, highlighting our commitment to fostering deeper collaboration. Around 40 Korean startups spanning AI, biotech, and eco-friendly cosmetics have joined us here. Notably, 6 Korean startups have advanced to the EWC Global Final. Each of these startups is here to forge connections, attract investment, and explore new markets. Distinguished guests, Korea and Saudi Arabia share a commitment to empowering youth and creating future-ready economies. In Korea, this vision is reflected in the rapid growth of the innovative startup ecosystem that is transforming our economy. When you think of Korea's economy, large conglomerates like Samsung, Hyundai, LG may come to mind. However, in recent years, innovative startups have taken on essential role. Korea now has approximately 40,000 ventures businesses whose combined revenue has surpassed that of the Samsung and who collectively employ more people than Korea's top 4 conglomerates combined. Korean startups now have a strong presence on a global stage as well. If you attend the CES, at the world's largest tech exhibition held in Las Vegas, you will notice the Korean startups making significant impact. This year, 128 Korean startups received the CES Innovation Awards, the Seoul ranked 9th globally in Startup Genome's ecosystem evaluation. Indeed, Korea's economy has evolved from the one centered around the large enterprises to one driven by sustainable, innovative startup. Private sector players are key drivers in this evolution. Currently, about 500 registered accelerators, known as startup incubators, are actively identifying and nurturing entrepreneurs at early stages. Additionally, 400 venture capital firms are investing in Korean startups, contributing to a venture investment volume that reaches $8.2 billion in 2023, placing Korea fifth globally. Major corporations like Samsung, Hyundai, and LG are also deeply engaged, supporting startups through dedicated cooperative venture capital (CVC) and the internal startup support departments. Together, these players create a vibrant support network that enables Korean startups to thrive on a global stage. Beyond domestic support, global corporations like Microsoft, Google, NVIDIA, and OpenAI are also recognizing the potential of Korean startups and actively participating in our support programs. To further accelerate the growth of our startup ecosystem, the Korean government has prioritized two areas. First, nurturing deep tech startups. We have identified 10 deep tech fields, including AI, semiconductors, robotics, and biotech. By 2027, we will support over 10,000 deep tech startups, providing R&D funds, commercialization, investment, and global expansion. Through our deep tech initiatives, Korea has selected 400 innovative startups across key fields, positioning Korea as global hub for innovation. In addition to these efforts, by 2026, we plan to open K Deep Tech Town in Seoul, a dedicated global hub that will bring together startups, corporations, investors, and research institutions from around the world. Second, we are dedicated to globalizing Korea's startup ecosystem. We send delegations to major startup festivals like Biban and have established overseas hubs in key countries. For instance, with the support of the Minister of Investment of Saudi Arabia, we opened the Global Business Center in Riyadh, and we also launched a $160 million Global VC Joint Fund in collaboration with the Saudi partners to invest in startups from both countries. In July, we also opened the Global Startup Center in Seoul to support international startups entering Korea. And later this month, we will launch the Startup Korea special visa to attract innovative entrepreneurs from around the world. We warmly welcome the talented Saudi startups and the entrepreneurs to join us in Korea. Ladies and gentlemen, through these efforts, Korea aims to become one of the world's top 3 startup nations. Saudi Arabia stands as a vital partner in this endeavor. As we build on the momentum created at Biban, we see countless opportunities to elevate both our ecosystem to global prominence. Since the 2022 Korea-Saudi Arabia Summit, our relationship has grown into a future-oriented strategic partnership. This collaboration spans economic, social, and the cultural sectors, with the SME and startup sectors leading the way. During Biban24, the Ministry of SMEs and Startups of Korea and the Monshas will sign an MOU on the cooperation in SMEs and startups. I'm confident that this agreement will accelerate our cooperation. Next month, as we host the Global Startup Festival, Come Up 2024 in Seoul, we're looking forward to welcoming many Saudi startups. Together, we are continue to journey we started here at Biban, forging new paths, exploring fresh possibilities. As the old saying goes, one hand cannot clap alone. In unity, Korea and Saudi Arabia can achieve what neither could accomplish alone, inspiring new era of innovation that knows no borders. Thank you. Shukran.
Thank you, Your Excellency, Minister Oh, for such an insightful presentation on cross-border innovation and the power of incubators and accelerating and scaling startups. Ladies and gentlemen, I am so happy and pleased to welcome my co-host for tonight, all the way from Washington, Sarah Chin Spellings, joining us here on stage. Welcome,
Thank you,
Sarah.
Fatima. How are we feeling? I know we've got a lot of excitement planned over the next couple of days at Biban 2024. My name is Sarah Chen Spellings. I'm the co-founder and managing partner of Beyond the Billion, the world's first and largest global consortium of venture capital funds investing over $1 billion into women-founded companies. And of course, I'm also a top global VC podcast host, Billion Dollar Moves. And yes, I did come from Washington, D.C. on what I hear is quite an important day in America today, because like all of you here today, I believe in the power of entrepreneurship, the potential that the kingdom has, and like all of you, I'm committed to the future. So without further ado, we've got a lot to talk about in terms of unlocking opportunities just tonight alone and beyond. But to get us started here, please feast your eyes on the video, which will feature a very special something from Diriyah. As I hear it.
Diriyah.
Diriyah. That's
Absolutely.
right.
Number
That's
one.
right.
Please enjoy.
Enjoy.
Assalamu alaikum. Today is a very special day because we are announcing Biban 2024 from our dear beloved colleagues at Munchiat, which we offer such congratulations. You know, here at Diriyah, we're all about local empowerment. 14% of our staff are from Diriyah. But to promote all the great work that our colleagues are doing, to promote SMEs and entrepreneurial ventures all over the kingdom, we're grateful. This joint venture that we've had for several years now is one of our most valuable. And I want to congratulate everybody on Biban for 2024 and all the great work that continues to be done from our beloved colleagues at Moonshot. This is very, very important for all of us. So congratulations. I wish you great success continuing. We look forward to working with you. Diriyah is all about empowerment, youth empowerment, business empowerment. We're micro financing projects all over Diriyah now. We couldn't do it without you. There's only one Diriyah, there's only one Munchiat, and there's only one Biban 24. God bless you. Continue the good work. We're with you every step of the way.
There is only one Diriyah from Jerry. And stay tuned, because what we have planned next is really something. AI, the next revolution. We've been talking a lot about it. In fact, backstage, I was already chatting with our guest that is coming up next. Zach Cass, all the way from America, the former head of go-to-market from OpenAI, talking about the power of AI, and in fact, more than that, the negative spaces that we are not really thinking about, and the power that AI can unleash. Without further ado, Zach, over to you, my friend.
It's wonderful to be here. Thank you all so much for hosting me. This is my third time this year in Riyadh, which is incredible. That's not a stand-up bit. I've actually been to Riyadh 3 times this year, and I'm coming back at the end of November. So I'm particularly excited to be here. As soon as we get the slides up, I'll start with what we're going to talk about today. Critically, I basically spend all of my time now doing research on where AI is moving, and what I've come to discover is that the most important thing that we can study now is not actually what will happen with the technology, but what will happen with us. And in a world where the technology is moving faster and faster, what we have to start understanding is how will it impact us and what will we do? And so the question then today is, where are we? We are building machines at this point that have human intellectual capacity, machines that can think as well as humans and operate at a machine scale. And this is a profound idea. And it's one that I think most people haven't actually come to understand yet. And because of this, we are entering an incredible new frontier. But there's something very important happening right now that I think most people don't realize. There's a counter narrative in the world right now that says AI is getting much more expensive. And that's true on a training basis, but it's not true on an inference basis. It's not actually true that running AI models is getting a lot more expensive. And in fact, it's getting much cheaper. GPT-4 was $60 per million tokens. Today, it's less than $4 per million tokens. Inference is getting inexpensive, and this is critical. Of all of the trends that I care about in the world, this is the most exciting for 2 reasons. Anytime a critical resource declines in cost this much, there is an incredible economic explosion. This happened with water, this happened with foodstuffs, this happened with electricity, this is happening with the internet. The world gets better when inexpensive things are really important. The second reason this matters is in a world where we want to run these models locally so that we are not actually governed by a single company, this is the best evidence that we will in fact be able to deliver these models at the edge and that we won't pay a tax to one ring to rule them all. Now, because we are building machines that are becoming exceptionally brilliant and machines that are also becoming exceptionally cheap, the question obviously is what happens next? Where are we going? And the really interesting thing to discuss now is the phases of AI integration, because this is basically, I think, how we are going to live in the world. The first phase of AI integration is the enhanced application phase. In this phase, you will open up AI on your app, you will close your app, and you'll be a little bit more productive. It works because it comports to the world that we live in. But it's not actually using AI to its full potential. AI's full potential is going to be realized pretty soon as we enter the autonomous agent phase. And the autonomous agent phase is going to be one in which we start assigning tasks to AI. Tasks and goals that will be executed across apps and across our web experiences. Apple Intelligence is hinting at what this will look like. You can conceptualize it as a Siri that works, right? In the future, you will probably not navigate directly into your apps. You will assign tasks and goals to an agent. And the third phase, pretty clearly at this point, is the natural language operating system. And the natural language operating system is very exciting, and it's certainly on the horizon. And it will be marked by 2 big changes. The first, we will wear our devices. We will wear our devices as glasses or watches. This will happen. You won't use your iPads and iPhones anymore. The second thing that will happen is we will start interacting with our machines the way we interact with each other. And I observed this firsthand when we launched ChatGPT. I watched my mother use ChatGPT for the first time. For the first time in her life, she was able to engage with a device the way she engages with other people. This is a huge moment. And forevermore, we will start to see technology as not something that causes a digital divide, but as something that actually narrows it. And the path to prosperity, pretty clearly, is a world in which we can all adopt this technology without having to learn it. Now, there are a bunch of things that are going to happen to get to this point, but pretty clearly, because of all this, we are approaching a world where we have fully integrated, unmetered intelligence, right? A world where the thing that you value most, your brilliance, actually becomes sort of infinite in scale. And this is a profound idea and one that will lead to all sorts of interesting things. My prediction is that, in fact, what this leads to critically is the idea of our next renaissance. I think that we are entering a chapter that will be defined mostly as the expansion, a massive expansion of human potential. Now, in a world where we expand our human potential by 50 or 100 times, the question then simply is not, what can technology do? That's not actually an interesting question anymore. Technology is going to do many things. The question is, what do we want it to do? And so I spend all of my time now considering societal thresholds and technological thresholds. A technological threshold asks the question, what can a machine do? And a societal threshold asks the question, what do we want a machine to do? And this, it turns out, is the most important question that we will start answering, because the technology is getting better. The hard part is not going to be figuring out what machines can do. It will be deciding how we want them in our lives. And we study this so closely now, and there is I think, an incredible example of a societal threshold upon us, and it's the autonomous vehicle. In the United States, and I know in a part of the rest of the world, vehicles are an incredibly high cause of death. 50,000 people in the US will die this year because of automobile-related incident. 7,000 of those are children. And yet, autonomous vehicles, at least in the United States, polls at less than 25% approval. It is exceptionally unpopular. And I have not been able to understand why for a long time. And so we started to do research. And we discovered 3 reasons that I think the societal threshold does not move with respect to AI, and specifically the autonomous vehicle. And they are, in order. 1, humans love control. We love control. There is something very exciting about getting in a car and putting your foot on the pedal and turning the wheel. And that experience sort of invigorates us. And it's something that we don't actually want to give up, because we see cars as a means to gain control and agency. The second reason that we don't meet a societal threshold is that technological thresholds are now moving too quickly. There is an asymmetry of information in the world because we don't actually know how good technology is anymore. And in fact, most people don't even know how dangerous it is to drive, which is why 20 times more people in the world are afraid of flying than driving. And as technological thresholds move faster and faster, this will become an increasingly big problem. The third reason is the most important, and this is the one that we have circled bright red, and this is the one that you should think about, which is that humans have exceptional tolerance for human failure, and we have no tolerance for machine failure. And this is fascinating, and there are all sorts of reasons for this that we can't go into today because we simply don't have time, but this is going to be the issue. In a future where we do not tolerate machine failure, we will not effectively risk adjust, and it will be very hard for us to figure out how we should actually integrate these machines into our lives. Now, given that, I do think it's important to talk about how the AI revolution will increase suffering, increase joy, and decrease suffering. And the most important thing that I think is going to happen, as I mentioned earlier, is this idea of the expansion in human potential. Something profound is on the horizon. Something remarkable, where one human is going to be capable of accomplishing so much more tomorrow than they can today. And the expansion of human potential will clearly lead to a number of things. The first thing it will lead to is an incredible wave of scientific breakthroughs. It is very likely that we will cure cancer and neurodegenerative disease in the next 30 years. It is also very likely that we will have a wave of non-bio and life sciences breakthroughs, fusion energy, quantum computing, nanotechnology. These things will come. And when these things come, they will unlock a chain of other events that will catapult us into an incredible future. The third thing that I think happens is there will be a massive deflationary event. I am basically certain at this point that AI and expansion of human potential will drive the cost of goods and services down. People talk about living in a very expensive time. Inflation is a very hot topic. But in actuality, it has never been less expensive to be alive. In the United States, this generation will spend 10% of their annual wages on foodstuffs. The prior generation spent 40%. We are building a world where staples become luxuries. This is a trend that humans follow, and in the future, many more staples will be luxuries. This is something that we get to observe. The last thing that happens, I think, is that we get a whole lot more time. I am basically convinced that in the future, we will have much more time. And this is a very hot take. It's controversial, and I think it has high variance too. The reason it's controversial is because people will come up to me all the time and say, I work more than I ever have, or I work more than my parents did. And what I remind them is in 1960, the average work week in the West was 57 hours. Today, it's less than 45. We do work less. We are more productive and we work less. The second thing I tell them is I ask them to see their screen time. I ask people to see how much time they spend on their device. Because even as I talk, many of you can't look up. There is an addiction to the device that is changing the way we live and think. And in fact, it is complicating our relationship with work. Because whereas we work less, we are convinced that we are working more because we are so addicted to the screen. And that is a huge problem. And I will tell you right now, one of the ways to build a better world is to simply use the device less. There is an incredible future where we have more time. And the big question is, can we even spend it appropriately? Because the only thing that matters at the end of the day is times with friends and family and physical community. That is the most important thing in this world. And if we build an incredible technology that allows us to do that, and we simply forget it, it will be very sad. Okay, so then the question is, how can you prepare? And in addition to being very deliberate with your time, and in addition to using your device less, I have a couple lessons. The first lesson is that we all now have to prepare for tremendous change. One of the wonderful things about being in the kingdom is that His Highness has set out such an incredibly impressive vision that assumes so much change. Vision 2030 would have seemed impossible 5 years ago and is very much within the grasp today because of the progress we are making technologically. Preparing for tremendous change, which is something Saudis are exceptionally good at now, is something the world needs to do. Setting very ambitious targets and updating to those targets becomes the critical lifeblood of organizations and governments. And I think in order to prepare for tremendous change, we have to start thinking about adaptability as a strategy. And adaptability as a strategy doesn't mean that you assign strategy to a head of strategy. It actually means that you bake strategy into the core tenet of how something works, and that adaptability isn't something that happens accidentally, it's something that happens on purpose. Because in a world where information updates constantly, a business's ability to update with it is actually the most important thing it can do. And I think embracing adaptability as a strategy means learning how to learn. Young people ask me all the time, what should I study? I had a really wonderful conversation with Ratil earlier, who is exploring all these incredible things about the world. What she studies in college doesn't actually matter. It will not matter. It doesn't have a correlation to her economic outcome, and it won't actually change her life. Studying something that you love does. In a world where you can explore anything, don't explore something because it will get you financial gain. Explore something because the act of learning is now the most important thing we can do. If everything is going to change, thinking how to think and learning how to learn becomes the imperative currency of the future. The last thing, and this is the thing that we spend a bunch of time researching, and it's my favorite scope of research, is this idea of designing around things that AI cannot do. We spend so much time at OpenAI trying to figure out what AI would do. Everyone asks me, what's coming next? A lot. No one asks me, what's not coming next? Very few people are spending time thinking about the negative space between us and AI. What will we have left? And I will tell you, this is why I get out of bed every morning so excited. Because in a future where AI is very good at computational processing, it turns out it will be very bad at humanistic values and qualities. And so in a world where we prepare for the negative space, it's simply about optimizing for humanistic qualities. I think that the future will be determined by the way in which we make each other feel. And increasingly, I believe this, more and more evidence-based. Very recently, by the way, in a professional services capacity, basically all of these functions are approaching a point where we select our professional services providers based on how much we trust them. And I observed this very clearly very recently. My father is an oncologist in California. He's a very famous oncologist, and people travel from all over the world to see him. And he was given a Lifetime Achievement Award by the Breast Cancer Association of America. And a patient of his stood up and talked about him for 5 minutes, and I sobbed the entire time. It was a very moving, powerful experience. But she said some things that I will never forget. She spent the first 30 seconds of her talk talking about her patient outcome. She talked about the fact that my father had helped save her life and that she was now living a long and full life. And then she spent the next 4.5 minutes talking about how my father had made her feel. And in this course, she processed something that it had taken me forever to come to realize. She said that in a world where anyone can prescribe you an oncological therapy, the difference between one doctor and another is not actually how they treat you. It's how they make you feel. And she said something I will never forget. She said, in the future, bedside manner is not a feature, it's the product. How we make each other feel will matter more than anything. And so my advice to young people and anyone is if you can be anything, be adaptable, be courageous, be curious, be wise, be empathetic. Knowing a lot of things is not actually an interesting way to differentiate yourself anymore. Fatil can know a lot of things. I can know a lot of things. Everyone in this world can know a lot of things thanks to ChatGPT. Ratil proved earlier that in fact she knows a lot more than I do. But the reality is, how we make each other feel will determine the future. The last thing I will say to all of you, and I think the Saudis believe this, so I don't have to do much convincing, is that the future is great. Today is the best day ever to be born. Tomorrow will be too. This is just a fact. The world gets better all the time. The problem is many people don't believe this, and the reason they believe this is because we are overexposed to negative information now. We are overexposed to all these bad things and underexposed to good information, positive information. And so my last challenge to everyone is think about a world where we've cured cancer. Think about a world where we've cured neurodegenerative disease. Think about a world where we have abundant energy and foodstuffs. If Vision 2030, if it's something that Saudi can achieve, what if it's something the whole world can achieve? And go home to your places of work and your dining room tables and talk about this future. Because what I've learned in all of my travels is that the thing that everyone wants today is to be optimistic. Everyone wants a reason to be optimistic. If I can be that reason for you today, I'm so glad. And my challenge to you is please be that reason for someone tomorrow. You can follow along. We have a Next Renaissance podcast and blog, and you're welcome to follow along. Thank you all so much. It was so nice to be in the kingdom again.
ladies and gentlemen, what a conversation that was. The power of AI, we talk about it so much, but I thought it was fascinating the way that Zach actually highlighted the negative spaces. I think a lot of us spend time with our kids, teenagers, Generation Alpha, as they call it. And yes, they do know a lot of things, as Ratil tells me. But I'm often reminded, actually, my friends at OpenAI often remind me, the future generation, what's important is not so much what you know, but the questions that you ask. And I hope that today I see a lot more new faces that are coming here today. I'm so delighted to be here with you. Assalamu alaikum, Your Excellencies, Your Highnesses, ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again. We've got a power-packed schedule, so be sure to look up from your phones, ask the right questions, because what's next is a question we should all be thinking about, the development of our future generation. And without further ado, cultivating tomorrow's entrepreneurs, a fascinating panel brought to you. Let me welcome the inspiring Rana Nawaz.
Good evening. It's wonderful to be here with you. Control, can we get some lights on the crowd so we can see who's here? Thank you. Hi, everyone. Do we have any startup founders or aspiring entrepreneurs in the crowd? Anyone? Excellent, excellent. Has anyone here done a leadership course or a course on entrepreneurship? Thank you. And would anyone here like to do a course for the first time or again? Okay. So easy crowd for you guys. Lovely to be here. So we're very lucky to have these panelists with us today. Two of the world's most experienced educators in the field of entrepreneurship and leadership. And I'm going to invite David and Zaire to introduce themselves. Please.
Thank you, Rana. Good evening. My name is David Abdow. I'm the president and CEO of Babson Global. I would like to acknowledge and thank Moonshot and His Excellency Governor Sammy for hosting and organizing this wonderful evening, and thank the many distinguished guests who have made the time to join us tonight. My organization, Babson Global, is a wholly owned subsidiary of Babson College, with a mission to extend and support the mission of the college, the entrepreneurship education mission of the college globally. In particular, to reach audiences that are not traditionally reached by our undergraduate, graduate, and executive programs. I have been at the college I've been higher ed for over 25 years at Babson College for about 7 years now, and in fact, one of the first things I did when I got to campus was some programs with Moonshot on some small and medium enterprise growth workshops when I first came to campus. And finally, one of the great sources of pride I have in my work is the relationship we have with MBS College. We entered a partnership close to 10 years ago altogether to become the academic service partner for a new College of Business and Entrepreneurship, now known as MBS College. And it's been a delight to work with Dean Zager, his colleagues, and we marvel at the many accomplishments over such a short period of time. Thank you.
Zager, please.
Thank you, Rana. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Absolute pleasure to be here. Have a good evening, and thank you for your efforts joining us. I'm Zager de Graaf, and I've been the Dean of Prince Mohammed bin Salman College for the last 5 years. And during that time, we've grown from 40 to graduating 1,000 leaders for the kingdom every year. We are a school of leadership, and if you want to become a leader, that's when you join Prince Mohammed bin Salman College. We develop leaders with an entrepreneurial mindset, leaders who think and execute, who contribute to the economic diversification of the kingdom and thereby help realize Saudi's Vision 2030. We aspire to be a world-class business school, recognizing that there's a need for a world-class business school in the kingdom. We simply want to be the Harvard Business School of the region, and we're well on our way. Our students don't need to go to the US anymore to get world-class business education. No, their business networks are built here today in the Middle East, in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, where the future of business will be. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I see David there getting a little uncomfortable. No, we want students in America. Joking. David, can you take us through the Global Entrepreneurship Monitor report and tell us what it is and what have you found about the entrepreneurial landscape in the kingdom?
Sure. So to provide some context for entrepreneurship in the kingdom, for the past 8 years, the kingdom has participated in an annual national survey that tracks entrepreneurship rates and attitudes across the country. The survey is called the Global Entrepreneurship Monitor, also known as GEM for short. It was established in 1999 between Babson College and the London Business School, and is viewed today as one of the world's foremost studies of entrepreneurship. GEM is an annual adult population survey tracking characteristics of entrepreneurship in each participating economy. There are 49 participating economies in 2023, so it's not the whole world, but it's a good sample of the world. GEM academic partners include Babson Global Center for Entrepreneurial Leadership and MBS College. So in terms of results, we've seen a remarkable trajectory in the kingdom over the past 5 years. And to provide a few stats, to give you some sense, since 2020, over 90% of working-age adults in Saudi have expressed positive attitudes about entrepreneurship as a career choice. And this has changed. It wasn't always viewed as a positive career choice, of course. Their attitudes about conditions for starting a business, the positive media coverage that goes with it, have all really dramatically shifted over the past 4 or 5 years. Looking back since 2016, something GEM calls the total entrepreneurship activity, which is the percentage of people who started a new business or who have been running one for up to 42 months, this has more than doubled to 25% of the population. Quite substantial, in my opinion. Another GEM, perhaps even more substantial, another measure GEM calls established business ownership rates, which looks at those in business more than 42 months, more than 3.5 years. That percentage has increased more than fourfold to 14%. And what's significant about that is that startup is not as volatile as it used to be. It's far more trending towards to be more sustainable. Just a couple other statistics. We've seen a significant decrease in business closures. They've declined by almost half, with less than 3% of adults closing a business during the past year. This is the lowest number on record. And notably, the Saudi expert ratings, which is another part of the survey. We have adult population and Saudi experts who do the survey. These ratings across what GEM calls the entrepreneurial framework conditions are very high among the high-income economies participating in GEM. These are conditions such as availability of finance, infrastructure, national culture, government policies. KSA was among the top 3 of the high-income economies this past year.
Wow.
So quite noteworthy.
Amazing. And David, can I ask you, because all of this is really, really good news, how do these results compare with other economies in a similar position? How do they compare and contrast?
Well, given that you've been amongst the top 5 over the last several years in the composite index, my answer is very favorably.
Okay.
Yes, very favorably. And in fact, I would just, to comment on this, the movement in the kingdom over the past 5 years is a great example of when a government is intentional and takes things like GEM reports seriously, what a difference it can make.
Thank you.
It stands out in that regard.
And Zeger, since you live here, right,
Yes.
and you see this every day,
Absolutely.
does your experience echo the findings of the GEM report?
Yeah, let me first add a personal note, right? It has been absolutely a privilege to witness the exponential transformation in the kingdom. This is just absolutely unseen, and this conference is just one example of this. David highlights extremely exciting statistics. I mean, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia being number 3 in the world for entrepreneurship. And that compares to the US and Europe. There's Korea there, there's Qatar there, but Saudi Arabia is in the top 3 in the world. It's absolutely amazing. But let me try to add another extremely exciting statistic to that pack. I'm not sure about you, ladies and gentlemen, but 15 years ago, there was 1 woman in 10 men who started a business in Saudi Arabia. You know what the statistic is today? Today, it is 8 women to 10 men who start a business. The large majority of starting businesses are now done by women. I have to give credit to the female Saudi population for being entrepreneurial, for their innovation, their drive, their motivation, their energy. It is an unparalleled statistic. And we see that also in our degree programs. In our executive MBA program, we have 25% women. But in our pre-experienced Master in Management, which is a business administration degree for recent graduates, the majority of our students are female students. The energy, motivation, enthusiasm, and courage of our female participants in our programs is just absolutely inspiring and is definitely a solid foundation for the future of the kingdom.
And we are seeing this across the region, actually.
Absolutely.
This is really beautiful to watch.
Yes.
And you mentioned some traits. You mentioned courage, you mentioned other things like that. I wonder, and this is a question for both of you, I wonder what traits are innate? What entrepreneurial traits are people born with? And what traits do you think they can, or we can help cultivate?
Right. So common saying is that entrepreneurs are born. There are a number of examples of successful entrepreneurs who are college dropouts. While there might be some traits like courage, energy, drive, motivation, maybe risk-taking, resilience. Think about this, ladies and gentlemen. There is no Silicon Valley without Stanford University. Education is key. Also in other business sectors, there is not McKinsey & Company without Harvard Business School. There is not Wall Street without Chicago School of Business. Education is key. But not only skills. Leadership education has 4 major components that create an entrepreneurial mindset. The 4 components are knowledge in the first place. Our students learn marketing to spot future business opportunities and finance to value them. Are those worthwhile opportunities pursuing? That's the knowledge component. Then they need skills to effectively execute their opportunities. How do I influence? How do I communicate? How do I make decisions? How do I motivate a team? How do I motivate people? The skills component of business education. The third component are the value component, ethical business practices. And the third component of leadership education is, of course, the networks that we develop from here in the kingdom while our students are studying here, their future connections, their future businesses, their future customers, their future clients, their future employees. They build their networks here.
So Ziger, let's talk about these 4 buckets. So what role do colleges and universities play in building these 4 buckets? How do you deliver?
So leadership education is essentially 2 things. Leaders think and leaders execute. Leaders do. And those components we certainly develop in our students. Leaders think in the first place about value creating opportunities, solving problems. Ultimately, ladies and gentlemen, it is about the quality of life. It is spotting opportunities to make our lives easier and then providing products, services, new processes around it to make our lives more enjoyable, more easy. Thinking about value creation and then doing it. That's where the inspiration part comes in, because leaders cannot do it on their own. We work with people in our businesses. So we work through, and then the question for leaders is, how do I bring people along? How do I motivate people to actually do those things that I think are value-creating opportunities? How do I motivate? How do I inspire? How do I enthuse? How do I excite? We develop exciting people in business school. And that ultimately is how we create effective entrepreneurial business leaders.
Thank you. So David, Babson has been ranked #1 in entrepreneurship almost every year for the past 30 years, right? Can you please tell us about your program, Entrepreneurial Thought in Action?
Sure.
Can you just hold the mic closer? Yeah.
Better?
Touch.
Okay. The focus at Babson is on a leadership mindset and skill set we refer to as entrepreneurial thought and action, as Rana just suggested. And this is promulgated by what we call entrepreneurial leadership. Entrepreneurial thought and action is a methodology that really extends traditional ideas of entrepreneurship. As Dean Zager said, it posits that leaders are made, not born, that they can and do lead across all stages, all levels of organizations, all types of organizations, that they bring a set of skills to bear to take advantage of opportunities, enabling them to envision solutions, overcome uncertainty. Entrepreneurial thought and action is a way of thinking and acting that can be taught, learned, and practiced. This is what we mean by leaders are made, not born. And we inculcate our students, undergraduate, graduate, and executive students, with this philosophy. And just to give you a feel, a couple of the components that make it so tangible and practical in very many ways. There's a few basic steps, and I think a few powerful concepts that I'll just underscore. First begins with self-awareness. I don't think any of us can be too self-aware. Reflecting on our values and the kind of impact that we want to have on the world. This is where we generate our ideas for making a difference. Then there's this powerful notion of starting with the means at hand. Traditional business starts with predefined goals and then seeks resources to help achieve those goals. Well, we teach our students something a bit different. We ask them to answer the following questions. Who am I? What do I know? Who do I know? What resources do I have available to work with now? The composite answer to these questions are a person's resource base. And these resources available today can be used for immediate action. So this is a fundamental component of entrepreneurial thought and action, is resources at hand and how you can, it's not what I don't have, it's what I do have, and how can I take action with what I do have. There's another notion that's very powerful in my opinion as well. It's this notion of calculating affordable loss. What's considered high risk to one person may not be high risk to another. So it's really hard to have a calculation that speaks to what's high risk. And to some decision-making criteria. So rather than calculate risk, think about taking action in terms of what you are willing to lose. What will you really truly give up in terms of money, time, reputation, these kinds of things that you're willing to lose. And this is, by answering these questions, you are able to take control rather than allowing yourself to be controlled by risk or fear of failure, because you have calculated the risk that you can tolerate. So it's a very powerful way to think about getting started without fear of failure getting in the way. And then taking small actions, you've all heard that, is part of lean innovation. It's part of this model as well. You heard Dean Zager talk about networking and enrolling others in your journey, fundamental. And of course, building on what you learn and iterating. So this is a process of build, act, I'm sorry, I had the reverse. Act, learn, build. And the components I just shared are aspects of that. So this is what we mean by entrepreneurial thought and action.
Thank you. So if I'm just gonna summarize for everyone what I think I just heard, is entrepreneurs are made, not born, and colleges and schools can play a role in helping aspiring entrepreneurs develop the skills, the leadership skills, the vision skills, and the execution skills, right? That there's a mindset that we have to inculcate around affordable loss, around the fear of failure. That's something we need to figure out what that means for us and how to get around it. I think the stats in the GEM report was that there is still in the kingdom a fear of failure, right?
It's still very high, right?
Very high.
From people who recognize opportunities, there's about 60% who don't act on them because of fear of failure.
Right.
So the large majority actually doesn't act because of being afraid to fail.
Yeah, and being aware of this will help us start solving it.
Yeah.
I think the last thing I'm going to say in our 20 seconds remaining is, you know, I've been working for 24 years, and most of that in the 19 years of that in the corporate world. And everywhere I've worked, they have hired, assessed, and promoted based on our entrepreneurial skills. So that's in corporate, that's in government. And so I want to talk to you because there isn't such a thing as an entrepreneurial mindset, and maybe not everyone wants to start a business, you know? It's not for everyone, but a lot of people want to be entrepreneurs. So I'd like to hear what you guys think about entrepreneurship. I heard Lou earlier talking about that. I see him sitting right there. I think it's a really, really important concept, because when you work for a corporate, you're opening up new markets, you're launching new products. So I'd like to hear your views on being an entrepreneur, but not having a startup.
One of the most fertile grounds for entrepreneurship is process innovation. It's new ways of doing things that we have been doing in the past. It's not always a new product, not always a new market, but it can be more efficient ways of doing things that we have been doing. The biggest impediment to entrepreneurship is typically the blame culture that exists in organizations. One of the biggest facilitators for entrepreneurship is we have to get rid of the blame culture. The first question we ask when something is wrong is, whose fault is this? Who caused this problem? The question should be, what happened? Why do we have the result that we observe? We could have bad results because of unforeseen, uncontrollable events. COVID is the best example of that. Our businesses were very negatively impacted by an event that was outside of control of managers and organizations. When we deal with the no-blame culture, we create fertile ground for effective entrepreneurship in organizations.
Thank you. And entrepreneurship is about solving problems at the end of the day, right? David, do you want to add something?
And I would just discern between entrepreneurship and what we call entrepreneurial leadership, which can be applied and exercised anywhere, everywhere, by people and organizations of all kinds. It's a set of tools and methods to affect change, to innovate, to achieve desired impact, whatever that impact may be, wherever you may sit.
Thank you very much. And guys, if you have any questions for Zeger or David, they're going to be hanging around for the entire night, so please find them. Head to Babson and MBS College websites for any more information. And finally, the report that we've been referring to, you can find it at that QR code. If you're interested in the GEM report, the Global Entrepreneurship Monitor, just zap that and you'll find it. Thank you very much to the speakers. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for listening, for your attention.
We're good, Jeff.
lovely session that was, and really well moderated by Rana. Thank you so much, Rana, for a great session. And our great speakers as well, really thought-provoking ideas that they shared with us in that panel. And now, with all the entrepreneurship talking, let's introduce and welcome on stage our next entrepreneur, who is the co-founder of Nuqudlet, Yara Ghoth. Please join me on stage, Yara. Round of applause for her, ladies and gentlemen.
Assalamu alaikum. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to what promises to be an insightful session on the catalyst for social change and the vital role different entities play in empowering startups and driving sustainable development. And today, we are honored to be joined by two distinguished speakers and leaders in the space. His Royal Highness, Prince Khalid bin Al-Walid bin Talal Al Saud, founder and CEO of KBW and Board of Directors, member for Al-Walid Philanthropies. And we are also joined with His Excellency, Dr. Ghassan Al-Suleiman, founder and chairman of Al-Suleiman Group and chairman, National Committee for Nonprofit Companies. Thank you both for being here with us today. Thank you. I'm super excited for this really, important topic about social entrepreneurship. And I'm sure a lot of us here know or heard of what social entrepreneurship is, but maybe a lot of people get it a little bit confused sometimes. So I'd love to start it off with Prince Khalid.
Yes, ma'am.
If you can tell us what is, and if you can explain to the audience, what is social entrepreneurship and why is it important?
Sure. أول شيء بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. Thank you very much for having me. It's an absolute pleasure and an honor sharing the stage with yourself, wallah, sir. I definitely feel humbled. So أول شيء, from our standpoint, impact investment is really a part of philanthropy, but really impacts philanthropy a little more. So what does that mean? If you think about impact investing, it really complements philanthropy on many stages. One of them is having a financial return definitely attracts a lot more capital to being deployed. Now, obviously, there are places for philanthropy, but impact investment specifically really captures a lot of venture capital's interest right now, especially these days, and in different ways. For example, sustainability and climate tech. That's really one of the main drivers for impact investment. Health tech, fintech, and food tech, which is obviously a big part of what we do at KBW Ventures. But even more importantly, as a board member in Al-Walid Philanthropy, our investment, for example, in Breakthrough Energy Ventures, which is really the impact investment arm and venture capital arm of Bill Gates, and as well as obviously other very renowned business leaders and businessmen around the world. This venture capital fund really drives a lot of the technologies that are really having to be lacking funding in terms of venture capital in the traditional sense, not the impact investment sense.
Yeah, excellent
Yes,
points.
Yes,
Your Excellency, what is social entrepreneurship from your vast experience and why is it important?
Well, just to add to what His Royal Highness mentioned, so there is sort of ambiguity here on social entrepreneurship because some people's understanding is that all non-profit work is social entrepreneurship, and this is not really a correct understanding. So we're putting it beyond its real context. So I would say there are three criteria to be able to belong to the social entrepreneurship world. One, there has to be a social cause. But a social cause is something that all nonprofits adopt. But the second and third criteria is what differentiates social entrepreneurship. So the second criteria is there has to be entrepreneurship activity. There has to be an entrepreneurship mindset. There have to be entrepreneurs working in the social entrepreneurship enterprise. And the third, there has to be an aspiration to achieve financial sustainability from the work and operation of that enterprise, not through endowments and donations and other supporting funding mechanisms, but through the actual work. If these three criteria are found, I think one can call the enterprise a social entrepreneurship enterprise.
And why is it important, do you believe?
Why is it important to have what? To have social entrepreneurship?
Yeah, and to support them. Because a lot of them do believe that, it's a non-profit, so they're not really generating, any, economy or they think about it as, for it just to be like a social cause, but there's no financial gain.
Maybe the best way to answer that is to try to explain the different types or models of social entrepreneurships that exist out there. Once you understand the full breadth of social entrepreneurship, maybe it will be clearer to understand the importance of them. So one type actually which came to the scene as a new legal structure is something that came with the last changes in the company law in Saudi Arabia, which happened just a year and a half ago approximately. So a new form of companies is the non-profit companies. We never had that before. If we looked at the previous legal structures, it was either a charity organization, an NGO of one type or another, which are not really suitable as legal structures to be social entrepreneur enterprises. So we have the new law coming up with this new form called non-profit companies, and just in a period of over 1 year, we have today 7,000 companies registered in Saudi Arabia as non-profit companies. So there's been huge, adoption of that legal structure from many of the people that aspire to be social entrepreneurs. The other thing which I think there is a confusion on is that you have to be a non-profit entity to be a social entrepreneur. And this is a wrong also understanding of social entrepreneurship. You can be a for-profit entity, you can have a dual cause of both a social cause and a profit cause, and you can also be labeled as a social entrepreneur. Now, these companies, what they do is they adopt what is called a 3P bottom line, which is basically people, planet, and profit. Okay? And that labels them as a social entrepreneur organization. So some of the others, let me just mention some of the other that are not really very well known. And some of them, we don't have them in Saudi Arabia. And some are forms which recently appeared in Saudi Arabia. So cooperatives, الجمعيات التعاونية. This is a form of social entrepreneurship. And this is something that recently the Ministry of Human Resources adopted. And the administration for under the Minister of Human Resources responsible for cooperations was only set up 3 years ago in 2021. So this is also a new phenomena in Saudi Arabia, similar to the phenomena of non-profit companies, but they are social entrepreneurs. Okay, we have something called social purpose business, which is basically a business but with a focus on addressing social problems. And I'll give a couple of examples, international, global examples on that. Patagonia, the apparel company. This is I would call it that type of organization. Tom's, okay, the shoe company, same thing. Then you have what is called a social firm, and these are enterprises that are created to employ the disfranchised people. For example, there is one, I forgot the name, it employs people with autism. Another company. It's called The Big Issue, employs homeless people. Okay, a third company, Goodwill Industry, is for people with disabilities, and so forth. So their purpose is basically to create job opportunities for people who, for some reason or another, are disfranchised.
Yeah. Excellent examples. Yeah, those are really great ones. Prince Khalid, from the perspective of Al Walid Philanthropies, how does impact investment fit into the philanthropic umbrella? And can you explain to our guests some of the ways investments works with startups? And also, you can give us some examples of some of the impact investments that you have made.
Sure. Just a quick recap, a few points that I wanted to make regarding integrating social and environmental impact into your investment thesis. You know, adding the purpose-driven elements to your business plan was not only going to make your business plan more resilient, but it'll also attract other forms of capital from different pools of people. So definitely expanding that it'll be super important. And I think this is why, for example, Breakthrough Energy Ventures, during Fund 1, for example, Al Walid Philanthropy committed about $50 million to that fund. And they think, if I'm not mistaken, it was deployed into more than 80 to 100 companies.
Oh, wow.
But most of these companies are moonshot ideas, if you will.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of health tech involved. There's a lot of food tech involved. With the food tech is specifically for food resilience, for managing waste, for food sustainability. So there are many aspects that they invested in this specific criteria that highlights impact investing, that really shines light on how important impact investing is. Now, obviously, in certain cases, you know, in urgent times, in crucial times, and sudden times, for example, philanthropy plays its role. But for the overall scheme of things, impact investment covers the grand idea of companies that really cover the aspects of climate, of food, of healthcare, and food tech. For example, a few companies that we invested in, and I don't want to forget anyone, but we have Kueski. So it provides quick loans, buy now, pay later programs for the unbanked community in Mexico, for example. It's one of the leading companies right now, and we're obviously talking to them about bringing them here into the Middle East. Why is this important? You know, enhances financial resilience, participation in the digital economy for a largely cash-based population. Queso, a Saudi company actually, or Caso if you will, Saudi-based platform for food supply management. They reduce food waste through AI-driven demand forecasting. Why is this important? Obviously, for a lot of the COP28 climate goals, we have to align with those. We have food sustainability issues in the Middle East in general, in the world specifically, but sorry, in the world in general, but specifically in the Middle East, which is our main focus. Noor Nation, a wonderful Egyptian company that was in a competition recently that I was judging in. I don't believe they won. I'm not sure who won actually, but at the end of the day, we ended up investing in this company, and it's a solar-powered water and energy solution for rural farmers in Africa. So why is this important? You know, it expands access through renewable energy and sustainable water services for the underserved rural areas in Africa.
Those are really important startups for VCs to look at. Do you think there's a lot of VCs focusing really on impact here in Saudi?
No. That's the reality of it. I think we were the only ones to really focus on impact investing way back in 2017, 2016, when we made certain investments in one of our leading companies. Actually, our CEO is actually sitting right over there, Lou. So we invested in one specific company that deals with food security, and in fact we grow fish flesh basically, so fish muscles, through extracting cells out of live fish.
Wow.
Now, the obvious benefit of this is that one is sustainable. Two, you don't have any of the environmental degradation that you get from mercury poisoning, from microplastics and whatnot. It's grown year long, and there are no issues with overfishing because it's literally one cell. Practically, it can be grown indefinitely. So that creates a big covers a big void in terms of food security here in the region, for example.
That's a really great example. And maybe what would one key message you would give VCs to like start looking at impact investing?
I mean, really focus on issues that are prevalent in these times. So climate is a really important issue, obviously. Environmental issues are really important issues that we want to focus on. And we'd love to see more entrepreneurs focus on these issues and help mitigate the effects of the negative effects of climate related activities around the world.
Yeah, I think that's a really important point. Yeah, thank you for saying that. Your Excellency, you mentioned a lot about private sector. What role does private sector play when it comes to social entrepreneurship and really social impact?
Well, His Excellency, His Royal Highness, mentioned the funding part, which is a very, very important part. But I think there's another dimension that maybe many of us, including myself, I would say, we are not giving it enough emphasis, which is the in-kind contribution that the private sector can offer startups, be it they're social entrepreneurs or non-social entrepreneurs. So a recent study done in the USA on startups found that 48.1% of all startups, they were raised in family businesses. So entrepreneurship and the commercial mindset, they learned it from having discussions around the dinner table and so forth. They lived through that. And as was mentioned in the session previous to us, you can also learn that, not coming from that background. But having nearly 50% of the people absorb the commercial mindset and the entrepreneurship mindset from, their youth as part of a family business, this is one very important element. The other element is the coaching and mentoring. The best mentors and coaches for entrepreneurs are the entrepreneurs that have gone through the journey before them. So they know the challenges, they know the opportunities, and they offer the best coaching and mentoring. The accelerators, if we look at the accelerators and incubators, especially accelerators. So incubators, the academic sector is very involved in that. But the accelerators, predominantly, they are managed by private sector. The participation on the boards of these startups, it's private sector individuals who are actually the dominant element in the boards of these companies. So the list goes on and on. I don't want to really prolong that, but the contribution of the private sector is huge, and the in-kind contribution is substantially more than the financial contribution, which is also an important element.
Excellent points. And what do you think are some of the, let's say, gaps that are in the market right now for some of these startups to really be able to grow? And I think this question is for both of you to give your perspectives on this.
No, relax.
I think the biggest opportunity are two. One is incentives from the government to encourage impact investing, to encourage social entrepreneurship, to look at the dimension not only of non-profits getting involved in impact investing and social entrepreneurship, but also the companies that are for profit. This is a dimension we've completely neglected. We're assuming impact investing is only from non-profits, or this is how it's structured here. The opportunity is to get more for-profit companies involved in impact investing, and one of the key ways to incentivize that is through taxes, tax breaks, and so forth. This is how they do it in many Western countries. So it's not like we're inventing something new. there are lessons that we can learn from, the countries that have done this before. The second opportunity is cooperation with the public sector and the three sectors: public sector, non-profit sector, and for-profit sector, which is the private sector. I think there is room for substantially more collaboration, and I'll give a few examples. So, just about 2 weeks ago, we signed. Let me back up a bit. So when we look at SDG, okay, Social Development Goals, there are 17 goals. You know what the number one goal among the 17 is?
Which one?
Poverty alleviation.
Oh.
Okay. And alhamdulillah, in this country, we have a lot of charitable people and charitable organizations that are working on this. However, where we are working mainly is to support financially these, let's say, families in need. However, the economic empowerment of these families, to me, is more important than just giving them, annual support, because they become dependent on that support. But if we're able to find ways to empower them so that they become self-sufficient, that lessens the burden on everybody, all the stakeholders involved. Now, this economic empowerment element, only the private sector can do, because it requires a commercial mindset, it requires an entrepreneurship mindset, and that is only available in the private sector. So cooperation among these three groups, public sector, private sector, and non-profit, each playing in a zone that complements the other, is very important. So 2 weeks ago, we signed with the Ministry for Human Resources to set up the first cooperative in Saudi Arabia directed towards economic empowerment. It's the first of its kind in Saudi Arabia. And inshallah, we will be working with food home businesses, الأسر المنتجة في مجال الطعام. Okay?
Wow.
To try to develop them, empower them, and move forward in that space. We are, inshallah, within a month, we will be signing with Social Development Bank and Munsha'at on an accelerator that is focusing on franchising. And this will be the first accelerator of its kind in the Middle East. So this kind of cooperation, we could not have done it on our own. The non-profit could not have done it on their own. It required cooperation with the three sectors to get involved so that we can deliver on this. And there are many other examples, but I'll stop here. So.
That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. Prince Khalid, what do you believe are the gaps that startups are facing here in the Middle East, specifically Saudi, that hindering them from growing as social startups?
I honestly don't look. If it's a good idea, it's going to get funding. You can call it social impact investing. You can call it social investing. You can wrap it up in a bow and call it whatever you want. It doesn't matter. If it's a good idea, it'll get funding. But more importantly, if it's a good idea run by good management and has good momentum, it's going to get funding. There are a lot of elements that have to play together for a company to really succeed here. However, businesses are always going to run into a huge issue when it comes to growth stage here. We focused on that. We focused on the early stages from seed to Series A and B. But being here for all my life, really, but really focusing on venture capital, we've really identified that growth stage has really lacked significantly here.
Okay.
And this has nothing. I'm sorry, I might be deviating a little bit from your question, but the honest answer to your question is, the gaps are within the idea behind this impact concept that you're trying to sell to investors.
Yeah.
If the idea is sound, if the management team is sound, if you have good pedigree of founders and staff with you, then those are recipes for success. In the Middle East, you're not going to have a lack of family members, grandmothers, uncles, aunts, mothers and fathers who are going to fund their kids' ideas. But what you're going to have to do is that you're going to have to grow up and actually talk to a venture capital firm who's going to shred you up a little bit and definitely tell you that your idea is good, your idea is bad, and that's really what our job is. But the problem is after that stage of how do you grow? So many entrepreneurs here focus on growing regionally. That's not what we're interested in. As investors, we're interested in how are you going to grow this internationally. So, I mean, we've said this in I've said this in FII, and we'll just announce it again. We're actually working on launching our KBW Ventures Fund 2. Which will be about $100 to $150 million fund.
Congratulations.
Focused, alhamdulillah, but yeah, it'll be focused primarily internationally and some of it here. Maybe the split we haven't decided yet, but we're definitely going to focus on SMEs here because we definitely do see a void in the growth stage companies.
Yeah.
And we would love to fulfill that with the right partners and the right LPs.
Definitely. There definitely is a gap here when it comes to funding. So I think that would, work really well here. There's a lot of startups as well. And I wanted to also ask, since you have experience both in, the philanthropy and the investment, which one do you believe is the most impactful?
Every one of those funding sources has its own purpose. During emergency times, philanthropy has to play a role, and it will play a role way beyond impact investment will play. But impact investment complements, I believe, philanthropy when it comes to having having an end goal that's financially driven. And I think this is what attracts people the most. It's very true, like His Excellency said, that incentives play a big role. So, for example, internationally, if the more you give philanthropically, the more tax breaks you get. Now, that's not necessarily a negative thing. At the end of the day, it's going to philanthropy. Whether the reasons are, it means nothing, as long as the money is going to in philanthropic efforts. But they both complement each other.
Great. Right. Thank you. And to wrap up today's session, what advice can you share to any entrepreneur sitting here that wishes to have a social entrepreneurship venture? What one advice would you give them?
No, you're total.
Excellent.
So 2 advices I would give. One, it's much more self-fulfilling to be able to have initiatives and investments that impact positively your profitability, but it's also more enriching and more impactful in terms of your esteem and your recognition if you're able to achieve both an impact on your profitability and an impact on your community. So the concept of 3P bottom line is something that we all need to hopefully quickly adopt. Let's benefit ourselves, and let's also benefit our community and our environment. And this is something that is very much enriched in our religion and, in our historical traditions.
100%.
The second advice I give, I see a lot of entrepreneurs or would-be entrepreneurs, they're afraid of failure. And I keep repeating this in every session that I participate on pertaining to entrepreneurship. Failure is part of the journey to success. You cannot have success if you don't pass through many, instances of failure. And I don't know about His Royal Highness, but I know some VCs, when they come and invest, many times they prefer to invest with somebody who's already tasted failure rather than somebody who has not tasted failure. So don't be afraid of failing. It's part of your journey towards success.
I'll have to echo what His Excellency said. So I'm going to say something a little less proper, a little more me. one thing, stop chasing perfection. Perfection is the enemy of every entrepreneur because sometimes entrepreneurs want to wait until the perfect time, but till they get the right product and when the code is right and everything. That's never going to happen. So just launch and learn from your mistakes. And my second advice would be, again echoing, is that know when to fold, know when to quit, know when to say this is not working out. I have to just brush myself off and move on and actually create another one. I would be much happier investing in an entrepreneur that failed a few times than one guy who actually, or one guy or lady who just never failed. You know, because they're just afraid of failure, and being afraid of failure is not attractive to any entrepreneur. Sorry, to any venture capitalist.
It's part of the journey of an entrepreneur. You have to have a lot of failures. And this was such, honestly, an amazing and insightful session. And thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with everyone here. I'm sure everyone took a lot from this session. So thank you so much. And I really appreciate your time. And thank you for the audience.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Wow, wow, wow. Ladies and gentlemen, what was that conversation all about? Late at night, we're talking about impact, profit, and purpose. I think that deserves another round of applause for His Royal Highness, for His Excellency, for the commitment to profit and purpose. And as we see the fans gathering here, I think we're all excited by what he had to say on the power of dreaming big, the power of not being afraid of failure and never letting perfection being the enemy of the good. And now, to bring us all home here, the final presentation will be Dr. Jamil Al-Bagawi, the Senior Vice President for National Champions of Aramco, the power of partnerships. Without further ado, over to you, sir.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Thank you for the introduction. Your Highnesses, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. On behalf of Saudi Aramco, it's really my great pleasure to be here today and share with you a few slides on our efforts in Saudi Aramco, how we support the localization and entrepreneurs. Okay, can you help me to? Okay, as you know, the Kingdom Vision 2030 aims to increase the GDP contribution of small medium enterprises from 20% in 2020 to 35% by 2030. And what is our contribution in this regard to be part of achieving this target in Saudi Aramco? Actually, Saudi Aramco has a long-standing history of attracting and localizing global investments. For example, we have Maritime and Spark that include many small medium enterprises, and they are contributing to more than 150,000 potential jobs, direct and indirect, and more than 80 billion GDP impact to the kingdom. Also, Locally, we have Iktifa program, which succeeded in developing strong and competitive local supply base, where we have reached to 65% local content in our purchases and procurements. As an extension of these efforts, in 2021, actually end of 2021, Saudi Aramco has created a new organization called National Champions as a unique program to support localization and enablement in sectors outside our primary oil and gas work, and the intent is to support job creation and positive GDP impact. Actually, Aramco National Champions include 4 programs across the venture life cycle with 4 strategic focus in industry, manufacture, digital, and sustainability. 3 of these programs, since we are talking about small, medium enterprises, 3 of these programs focusing on SMEs ecosystem. First is the Innovation and Product Development Center, which is, we call it Lab 7. It's a venture builder to enable entrepreneurs to create a startup. So it helps entrepreneurs to convert ideas to a startup. This is Lab 7. The second program is Wa'ad Venture. It's a venture capital fund that invests in a startup and help them to grow. The third program is Talid, which aims to establish, grow, and sustain small and medium-sized enterprises in the kingdom. Next, our fourth program, which is Nama'at, a powerful engine to create a localization of large company. So we have 3 programs focusing in small, medium enterprises, and we have big program, which is Nama'at, which focuses in large localization opportunity. The question is, what did we do so far? Actually, for the last 3 years, we successfully established more than 40 companies, created more than 64,000 potential direct and indirect jobs, and completed investments with $15 billion GDP impact. Let me provide a brief highlight about each of these programs. Starting with Nama'at, our industrial investment program. The program successfully established 31 companies, and actually these are the companies that are currently operational with their management and board and production, and there are many in advanced stages of development. The program so far accomplishment could be summarized in 3 areas. First, localization of strategic manufacturing capability that would strengthen our ecosystem. Example is the creation of steel plate manufacturing, which is located in Ras Al Khair in partnership with both Chinese Bao Steel Company and Saudi Public Investment Fund. Another example is the localization of heavy wall vessels and production, which is in Jubail. Second is the localization of advanced digital technology. This includes the establishment of Aramco Digital Company and the localization of first integrated unified communication company in partnership with Zoom. Third is driving project implementation efficiency, in which our Nama'at program efforts have resulted in creating a new company which is called ASMO. ASMO company is considered the first integrated company for industrial supply chain services in the Middle East and North Africa. The second program is Talid, which is focusing in small medium enterprises. We succeeded in localizing 9 businesses. Examples include manufacturing of furnaces, electric motors, polymer concrete, and others. Additionally, Talid created more than 40 investment opportunity in downstream conversion industry related to Saudi Aramco affiliates. In parallel, our Talid program provided and started several programs to support SMEs, such as Operational Excellence Program, helping them to develop their strategies, and other program all the way to Net Zero program, serving more than 1,000 SMEs. Next comes Wa'id Venture, which we invested in more than 75 local and international startups with a total value of 1 billion Saudi riyal in strategic sectors, including artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, 3D printing, and the semiconductor, which was mentioned by Her Excellency, the Minister of SMEs in Korea. Actually, Wa'id succeeded in localization of 6 international companies in advanced technologies such as low orbit satellites, and actually we localized this company here in the kingdom. Currently they have 10 satellites, and their target is to have 27 satellites, helping us in our facility and other companies within the kingdom. Another example is quantum computing, artificial intelligence chips, semiconductors, and others. Last but not least is Lab 7, which is the first hard tech venture builder in the kingdom. We opened it to the public last week, and we welcome idea to be incubated in Lab 7. It aims to establish and enable entrepreneurs, or help entrepreneurs to build products all the way to startup establishment and the market entity. To date, we have Lab 7 developed 3 startups. As an example of what Lab 7 developed, we developed a startup which is called self-cleaning solar panel, which is a water-free technology for cleaning solar panels with a cleaning efficiency of up to 95% with no use of water. So this technology enabled to clean the solar cell with no use of water and reach the cleaning efficiency of 95. This technology is expected to increase the productivity of energy produced from solar panel by 25%. Another startup is the building code compliance checker, an artificial intelligence solution to ensure complying with local and international engineering standards. So in artificial way, this solution would help you, if you have an engineering design, to check how this design comply with the international standards and local standards and code. Ladies and gentlemen, we will continue our localization effort in Saudi Aramco in line with the Kingdom Vision 2030 by increasing the contribution of small medium enterprises to the Kingdom's GDP. Let me conclude by extending my sincere thanks and appreciation to the organizers and to all participants, and I wish you the best. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you. Round of applause. First of all, round of applause to all of you that have stayed throughout the night. I mean, this is past my bedtime and the Saudis are still working. We have a lot to learn from you guys. To wrap up, what a day we've had already. We started, from Zach Cass challenging us about the power of AI, the negative spaces that we're not thinking about, the kind of questions that we should be thinking about as we're progressing, and that includes the potential for happiness through AI, to cultivating tomorrow's entrepreneurs, starting with what Zach had said about, education is no longer about knowing the most things, right? But really understanding how to adapt and how adaptability is really important as we progress. And that is really the future of tomorrow's entrepreneurs, all of you. And of course, we then went to His Excellency and His Royal Highness. Very inspirational to have your visionaries, frankly, to be spending the evening here talking about aligning profit and purpose. And knowing that, I was chatting with Fawaz earlier, the fact that, in the US, frankly, where I come from, there's been huge attacks on ESG, on impact, the fact that there is an impression of concessionary returns, and the fact that Saudi here today, through His Excellency and His Royal Highness, have really given the endorsement that you can align profit and purpose, and it is important as we build for the future. And finally, of course, localization with Saudi Aramco through the power of partnerships, because of course, we cannot do things alone. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, your excellencies, those of you that are still here, your highnesses, some of you are still here today, this evening. Thank you so much for the privilege of your ear, of your time. It was such a pleasure to be with all of you, and we can't wait to learn more together with you tomorrow. So be sure to be back here. Biban 2024 awaits you as we unlock more opportunities for Saudi and beyond. My name is Sarah Chan Spellings from Washington, D.C., signing off. Good night. Thank you.